Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for October 3rd. October 3rd is the 276th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 277th in leap years, with 89 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is ISBN. Not exactly a word there. ISBN is what is known as an initialism, also sometimes called an alphabetism. And this is an abbreviation, usually from the first letter or letters of words in a phrase, and they're pronounced as individual letters, like FBI for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number. An ISBN consists of 13 numeric digits used as a commercial book identifier, unique to the publication to which it is assigned. An ebook, paperback, or hardcover edition of the same title will each have their own separate ISBN, and one could use that ISBN to look up that specific book. They're sometimes referred to as ISBN numbers, but that's redundant since the N stands for number in ISBN. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes. I ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Stay to the end for those outtakes because we nearly always have some. Remember that you can share this video with others by email, messaging, or social media. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. And there is a link in the show notes to This Day in History playlist. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll also put it in the iCards right up in this corner. If you're watching on Vimeo, it'll just be in the show notes. Uh-oh, low battery. Dadgummit. All right, hold on. Probably doesn't still... Is it still recording? I think it is. Okay. Except my charge cord is really short, so let's see how this does. Close that. Alrighty. There we go. Alrighty, we're plugged in, we're charging. Good job. Okay. Here, let's see if I can get my script up a little closer to the camera. Right where I want it. Okay, and with that, here we are in early October. Thanksgiving of 2020 anyway is still almost 8 weeks away, but on October 3rd, 1789, George Washington proclaimed a Thanksgiving Day that year. We in the United States have officially observed Thanksgiving on and off since then. Sure enough, on October 3rd, 1863, Abraham Lincoln declared the last Thursday in November to be Thanksgiving Day, and so it has been ever since. This is the birthday of American novelist Thomas Wolfe. Born October 3rd, 1900, he wrote some really long novels and a lot of short stories, novellas, and plays. He had a huge collection of unpublished work when he died, so a good bit of his life's work was published after his death. He only lived to the age of 37 and died from pneumonia. This is the birthday of veterinarian and author James Herriot. James Herriot is his pen name. He was actually born James Wight, W-I-G-H-T. The same last name, by the way, of my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Wight, W-I-G-H-T. I sure liked her a lot. She had some things that she said throughout the year, and one of them was, a good point bears repetition. Wight, W-I-G-H-T. Anyway, James Herriot was his pen name. He was born James Wight on October 3rd, 1916. He wrote a series of books, which many of us have become somewhat familiar in their adaptation to movie and television screens under the name All Creatures Great and Small. There were about 8 books with different titles, though. And if you're interested in following up on those, I have placed a list of the titles with their ISBNs in the show notes. Let me know if you'd like Amazon links for those. James Herriot lived to the age of 78. Adolfo Luque was a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball from 1914 to 1935. Playing for the Cincinnati Reds and of Cuban extraction, he became the first Latino player to appear in a World Series on October 3, 1919. This is the birthday of American novelist, screenwriter, and critic Gore Vidal, born October 3, 1925. He was a prolific writer and an intellectual. He dabbled in politics and feuded pretty fiercely with other intellectuals. Apparently, he also drank a lot, which probably contributed to his sometimes controversial outlook, opinions, and behavior. In fact, in his later years, he died from an alcohol-related neurological syndrome, although he did live to the age of 86. On October 3, 1929, King Alexander I renamed the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes to Yugoslavia. Iraq gained independence from the United Kingdom on October 3, 1932. On October 3, 1949, the first black-owned radio station in the United States opened in Atlanta with the call sign WERD. This is the birthday of American singer-songwriter Chubby Checker, born October 3, 1941. We can thank him for The Twist, along with a few other songs about dances that were popular back in the day. I've placed a link to a video of The Twist in the show notes. Still alive, Chubby Checker turned 78 in 2020. This is the birthday of American blues musician and songwriter Keb Mo, born October 3, 1951. I remember the day and the circumstances in which I first became aware of Keb Mo. It's kind of a pleasant memory. That's all I'm going to say about it right now, though. But I have placed a link in the show notes to his YouTube channel. He's a lovely human being, Keb Mo. He turned 68 in 2020. This is also the birthday of baseball great Dave Winfield, born October 3, 1951. He's a Hall of Famer, class of 2001. He was elected with 84.5% of the vote on the first ballot, no small feat. I may have mentioned this before, but not everyone gets in on the first ballot. Dave Winfield turned 68 in 2020. Now here's a little bit of a surprise. The United Kingdom successfully tested a nuclear weapon on October 3, 1952. Thereby becoming the world's third nuclear power after the United States and the Soviet Union. And another baseball great. This is the birthday of Dennis Eckersly, born October 3, 1954. He also got in on the first ballot, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2004. I was working at the Hall of Fame that year, so I got to meet him, along with Paul Molitor, Eck and Molly, as they were affectionately known. Dennis Eckersley turned 66 in 2020. On October 2, 1962, Project Mercury, Sigma 7, launched from Cape Canaveral for a 6-orbit flight with Wally Schirra. On October 3, 1985, the Space Shuttle Atlantis made its maiden flight. The O.J. murder case ended with a verdict of not guilty on October 3, 1995. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something you didn't know before. I know I sure did. I always do. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes. If you enjoyed this series, remember there's a playlist to the This Day in History series right in the show notes down there, and I'll put it up in the iCards up there as well. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others. And I guess that's about it. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. One of us had a nap this afternoon and hasn't fully recovered yet. reminding me to breathe. Hopefully I can remember to breathe. Okay. I'm gonna have to look that up right quick. Okay, just leave that part out. That sounds like a pretty ambitious project. Not the first day, but the birthday. I guess the birthday is the first day. This is what happens when you don't clean up your script. I might leave that part out. I don't know how all that's gonna go together, or if it's even gonna make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna cut those out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video, we'll see. Changing it up.